Yeah, you want to start?
All right, here we go. Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Part is being
Ooh, this is gonna be hard tonight. Declaration of potential conflict of interest. Kyle?
None.
Sue? None. Mike?
No, ma'am.
None for me. Recognition of the softball field project completion. Do you want me to say something fancy or do you want to say something fancy?
It's your meeting, Mr. Chair.
I know, but you're the one that wrote the fancy letter.
Well, I did, it's just to help me organize my thoughts, but yeah, it's, we were able to, the softball field's been substantially completed. I think there's 2 punch list items that are still remaining, but we wanted to take this moment, this meeting, to recognize the efforts and recognize some people that have been involved. So I laid those out in a memo to you, but before we do that, I think I shared this at the school district meeting that we went to last week, but this has been a pretty, just speaking for the Park and Rec District, it's been a sizable lift for us, and it's been something that we have talked about so much. And I'm not sure if it's done and off of our agendas, probably not. It'll probably be back at some point, but over 90% of our meetings we've talked about something related to Broadway Field, either an IGA, part of the construction process, the need to improve the softball field, or some other component of that. So I laid out a few of the kind of milestones that I think were needed to hit, but also want to recognize some efforts from other individuals. Randy, thanks for being here. I think the board all knows Randy, but a community leader, business owner, someone that's been generous with his time and is great to work with, educates us on the need for equity. I think he's been a inspiring person in the community, but without Randy, I can assure you I don't think this project would have happened, and definitely wouldn't have happened, even though it took a long time, wouldn't have happened in the timeline that it got done. So I appreciate you, Randy, and for your efforts in continuing to bring this up and making sure that it got done in the right way. Chris Quarter helping construct the Hirsch Family Training Facility. I don't think the field would have happened in the way that it had, even though we eventually had to move the facility. But getting that done, the Hirsch family for their substantial contribution, the Seaside Kids Board, especially Scott White, for supporting that, the school district staff that worked with us on the project. It was a heavy lift. At times there was challenges and conflict that we worked through together with them. But grateful for that partnership. Our staff, some of whom are here, but some of our maintenance staff are here, especially want to recognize them. And there's more work to come on the field. And then the board. I know, again, it's been a heavy lift and something that you have invested lots of your time in. I wish Celeste was here, but she's not the only one who's given a lot of her time to make this happen. So really happy that the field is complete and looking forward to a spring season where we'll have an equitable field for softball athletes and for baseball. And they can play simultaneously, they can practice simultaneously. It'll be a safe environment. It'll be really, I think, a really nice thing. So I'm not sure if any on the board want to say anything, and I don't know if you want to have Randy say anything or Courtney. Courtney spends a lot of time out there. But I'm just glad that we're able to have this moment.
I was going to say something in board comment, that if I get a chance, I really truly believe, just as you spoke probably more eloquently than me, that if Randy had not done what he did, we wouldn't have what we have now. And that is a gift, and I can't say enough how much I appreciate what you did, and I thank you from the heart. I mean, I just know that there would have been a stumbling block after stumbling block, and with your push, it's done. And it's so pretty, you know, and look at all the youth that are going to get to take advantage, and I thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. 12 years going, and there was a lot of
I think
stumbling
it's
blocks,
smart.
but we got her done.
Yeah. Do you want to get up and make a speech, Randy?
No.
No. Courtney, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I'm just glad that it's finally completed, you know.
Yeah.
It'd be great to use it this way.
Yeah, it looks good. There's just a couple of minor things that need to be addressed that I'm going to be addressing with OCR. And, but for the most part, looks good. They did a great job on it. It's phenomenal. And the girls have already been practicing on it. And from my feedback, what I've heard is that they're really pleased, and it's just been a long time coming.
Yeah. I don't know how long I've been on this board, but I agree with Skylar. It's been on pretty much every board meeting that we have discussed some iteration of this, and to see it come to not a conclusion, because I don't think there's ever, it's always gonna be something come up, we're gonna have to, you know, which is how it should be, right? Like, it's a big thing in our community, it's a huge piece of what we do. I think it should always be talked about and discussed, not just we're done, but, to finally have an equitable playing surface for our youth in this community is huge, so, thank you, everyone. Yay, yes, go ahead.
I only got involved in this in the middle. You guys have done all the work before I showed up. But, you know, a project this large requires a great deal of choreography. And, you know, I think Skylar deserves a lot of the credit for keeping all the plates spinning and all the balls in the air, because the level of coordination and cooperation that's required to accomplish something like this is just astounding. So, Skylar, I really appreciate you pointing out the people that did a lot of hard work on this, but I also appreciate your humility. But thank you for bringing this project to conclusion.
No problem. Yeah, it's been great. Sorry, one other thing I want to mention is that the project, there's a lot of like, if this wouldn't have happened, then it wouldn't have gone through, right? And that's how a lot of projects are when you look back. But one thing that I didn't mention that I feel like we have to call out at every opportunity, if we hadn't purchased the SRC and it had gone to another one of the potential buyers, I don't think there's any way that they would have been given the space, because a lot of that softball field is on part of that purchase property that we purchased, as well as the brand new parking lot, which makes it the community-based field that it's going to be, right, and makes it more equitable. Then the project wouldn't have gone forward. And so I know not everything with the SRC has always been as perfect or as timely as we want it to be, right? And it's been a tedious 3 years, but I think that investment for this project alone paid off, you know, in full, to me at least, because to have that space and to be able to use it in this way is perfect use of space, and why we wanted that property so bad.
I remember when we were re-examining purchasing that and knowing that a hotel was the other candidate, and like how devastating that would have been for the heart of our community to have another hotel right there. So yeah, I agree that, you know, hindsight's 20/20. So glad we did what we did to make this work.
It's
Mike, did you?
It's shaping up to be a really remarkable recreation campus.
Yeah.
It's really something special.
Mike, did you want to contribute something?
Skylar pretty much summed up, you know, my idea. It was about the serendipity of the situation and how things have gone full circle with buying the old middle school, and the, you know, it's more than useful. We couldn't have had the expansion of Broadway Park without that. And then we still need to look ahead to possibility of our locker rooms and all the other components that fit into that picture. I think we're just going to build on that for the rest of the century.
Perfect.
Good job.
Go ahead.
It's ironic, because several years ago, the school district, looked at that space for building a softball field there, and then they disregarded it.
Right.
And here we are.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a interesting ride of, oh, we're gonna go this way, now we're gonna go this way, oh, wait, we're right back where we started.
A lot of money wasted.
I will not comment
Not
on
by
that.
the Sunset Empire, but by the schools.
I guess that is my conflict of interest, I'm a school district employee.
You know.
I do. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Public comment, anybody else wanna,
Hang on one second. We
Yeah.
have, just to celebrate, we have some
what we're doing
treats.
that now, okay?
I thought we should, just because
Okay.
then we can let people go if they wanna go.
Yes,
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Maybe we could take a picture,
yeah,
because we need to do better about documenting things like stuff. We have some ice cream sandwiches, I'll grab them if you guys wanna line up and I'll get a quick
Photo.
photo, and then, you can have an ice cream sandwich.
well, the school district had cake. I feel like we should have at least some.
Anybody else want it? Where,
Oh, right over there, Mike.
we're gonna go over there.
Yeah. Do you want
Moving slow.
underneath the table for your leg?
I've got this to rest my leg on it.
I know, but it doesn't go under the table.
Hey, I got a scooter, I don't miss anyone. The knee scooter.
Walking around better than I deserve to.
You want your cane? You good?
No, I'm okay. The cane's good for steps and ramps.
So I gotta say, how long does it take to get set up for a picture? Because it says point and shoot.
Ready?
Come on, Sue. Randy, Courtney.
So all this.
Oh, yeah. Bring it.
Chris, Isaiah?
Yep.
Let's go. Brandon?
Skylar, you need to be in this too, sir. So
Oh, you wanna take a
either
picture?
prop it up.
You want me to take it?
No.
No, you don't get to do that.
How about on top of, wheel that over?
Good for you, yeah. It's awesome. It's just a remarkable piece of wood.
Feels, might fall over.
No, it'll be fine.
If it does, can we take a nap?
If it does, we'll pick it all up.
I would,
Go ahead, direct me. I'm really bad at this, and I don't care if you tell me.
If it weren't for us,
yeah,
Skylar would
exactly.
never be able to
There you
take
go.
a picture.
This is not
You
my.
might want it
Take it sideways.
Yep, there you go.
There you go. You'll get more people.
How did you take pictures before we showed up?
And then you just say, hey Siri, take a picture on your watch.
Okay.
So I don't know about that technology, I just point and shoot. It's like, oh, it's all done.
How are you?
It's done.
She's not in the picture.
Everybody just take a
Well, maybe the
picture.
camera.
Can you see
You can't
everybody?
tell from the monitor.
We can
Cut off at Courtney.
Come this way.
Isaiah?
Well,
Wait,
that's the TV.
That's not on that, that's on this phone.
I think I don't know if it worked, but let me.
Oh, we weren't looking, we gotta try again.
You know, up against the wall.
Did
You
you tell?
sure? I just say, hey Siri. 'Cause
Would you like me to do it? I'm a pro.
You should be able to do it with your watch.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell your watch, hey Siri.
Okay.
Got everybody?
Do you have an Apple Watch?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I did that. How do you do the timer?
Just
it's
tell-
on- it's on
You
your
gotta
watch.
slide it over.
Oh, okay, I got it. Okay. Cool.
We're gonna
Alright.
teach them all,
You got
so you
3
gotta
seconds.
use this for Thanksgiving
3
and Christmas.
seconds. All right. 3, 2, 1, smile.
Say whiskey.
Okay.
You can't say whiskey without smiling.
Wow, that wasn't me, buddy. All right, that looks great. Oh,
All right. Well-
I missed Isaiah.
Oh, is it, do it
What
again.
happened?
Squish,
Familiar
squish.
with that.
Just needed to zoom out.
Here, turn, like, yeah, and squish. Sideways. Yeah.
3, 2, 1, cheese.
Whiskey.
Cheese.
Cheese whiskey. Good.
All right, I'm sure that's good enough. Thank you. Grab an ice cream sandwich or an otter pop. There's some dairy-free options.
Salted caramel, Oregon strawberry.
Did you get these from your brother?
No, but I make sure I support my brother. They also make the best ice cream sandwiches in my opinion.
Choices.
Go ahead.
One of these is dairy-free,
The little box that Mike has.
this one. These are dairy-free.
I'm gonna add that to the next few minutes. I don't want that combo
All right,
in
we
my
got
mouth.
more.
I think that might be a little
We're
weird.
gonna have some strong.
Or those. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, one.
It's,
Okay.
it's, the door was like that.
Did you get one?
I'm okay. I don't want to spoil my dinner.
Okay.
Save it up for pie.
This is an appetizer.
No, I'm not, same as you.
Brandon? Got some?
Where's the list?
I don't know. I text her.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna guess oh my gosh, I totally missed this on the calendar, I'm so sorry, she has an injured back, so would have needed to miss anyhow. Okay.
Anybody want another?
Oh, thank you. Owen?
Thank you.
You guys have ice cream every time I'm coming over.
Oh, you didn't know this is what we do every time?
Yeah.
I told Skylar, I was like, the school district had cake.
Oh, yeah?
I'm like, surely we can't, be lax.
Kind of cake and ice cream.
Right.
Well, they had a whole leftover cake when we left.
I should have come over. I was in the gym.
Maybe so.
Did you say she's here or coming?
She is not coming.
Oh, okay.
She forgot, and she has an injured back.
Oh, no.
Okay. Public comment.
Didn't see anyone online, and no one signed up. I don't know if any of our members of the audience want to public comment. Welcome to.
Correspondence.
Would you mind if I be excused?
You are very welcome to
You
be
can
with.
leave, yeah.
You don't have to stay.
Not obligated.
The rest of this is
Thank
very
you.
boring.
Thank you, everyone.
I'll send you that picture.
Just came for the ice cream, man?
I really like this picture, this is high schooler
Yeah,
made.
yeah. It was a nice little note to get him. Can't remember who he gave it to or how it got to me, but
So you mailed it in.
okay, thanks, Chris. Yeah, I don't know Noah. I know, I think his parents, but I thought that was cool, and,
I know of Noah.
it does bring up a larger point of, appreciation that we owe to our maintenance staff for helping us with the field and keeping it looking the way that it does. Not just the field, I guess, but lots of the, surrounding facilities and amenities.
I like that he is, still working on them.
Yeah.
To clean up after the student body. Oh. Okay, hold on. Now we get to the important part. Recognition of the SEPRD Employees of the Month. First up, we have Nicole Tibbetts. Tibbetts, is that right? Okay. Is our November Employee of the Month. Last summer, we had a participant in our summer program endure a significant break to their arm. Although the camper handled it with great bravery, they were still in shock and pain and scared. Ms. Nicole was right there, every step of the way, offering support, encouraging and comforting the camper, even to the point of riding in the ambulance to make sure they felt safe. She made a terribly scary situation not so scary, and it brought tears to my eyes to see the amount of love, empathy, and concern she shared. This is just a little snippet of the impact Nicole makes on a regular basis, and her actions speak so much to the foundation and purpose of what our youth programming is all about. Her reach knows no bounds, and her ability to create intentional, authentic relationships with the kiddos she works with is remarkable. Whether it's playing with our toddlers or working with our after-school kiddos in Water Village, Nicole is always present and welcoming of the good moments, the challenging ones, and everything in between. Her patience, attentiveness, and creativity makes everyone feel a little more inspired and encouraged. Thank you, Nicole, for all that you do for our SEPRD families. You are a rock star in so many ways, and these kiddos and our youth program staff are so very fortunate to have you part of our team. I have this fabulously signed certificate and gift card for you if you would like to come up and grab it. Thank you so much, and then go have fun at Funland. Since we are not having a meeting in December, we are also honoring Brandon, okay, I'm not gonna say it right,
Soria?
Soria, as our December Employee of the Month. Brandon, congratulations on being named Employee of the Month. Your hard work and dedication have not gone unnoticed. Since transitioning to your new position at the SRC, you have consistently gone above and beyond, and you are greatly appreciated. Thanks for being a valuable member of our team, and keep up the good work. Have a fabulous certificate, I think,
Sorry, we have a gift card, it's just, hasn't arrived yet.
in the mail. Thank you so much, and you are both not required to stay either, you can go enjoy your evening.
I'm gonna go back.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We are ahead of schedule with that. Approval of board meeting minutes from October 29th, 2024.
I have ice cream fingers.
Maybe I'll, I have to,
Napkins, we need them?
Put 'em on.
I've got a napkin. I need to wash my hands.
Kyle was on it.
So moved, Madam Chair.
And I'll second.
All in favor, signify aye, opposed, nay. Kyle?
Aye.
Sue?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. We'll sign out in a minute. Review of the financials from October 2024. I asked May one question about why we were so, hold on, let me get there. We've used 87% of the SRC materials, supplies, and services budget thus far this year, and that's because of the fires, work on the fire suppression.
Fire alarm.
Fire alarm, yes, I know.
It's okay. I do it.
Or,
I do it.
Taxes coming in.
They are, yeah. It seems like, once a week, we get an email from the county and there's a good disbursement.
So this month so for December, you'll see an additional 1.4 million, and we'll be up to about just a hair over 81%.
Soft landing.
Yeah.
So I had a question. The first four items are the negatives.
Yeah.
Down below, two of those are rebalanced, and then RICO shows up several places.
Yeah, RICO will show up a lot just because there's multiple contracts. They don't all come in at once. The ones up above, it was because of our positive pay. I was gone, I just didn't get checked after when I was out. So then those checks were returned because the bank says, nope, they're not valid. So then we had to reissue those.
Yeah.
I can't hear him.
in that sort of a case, do we pay fees?
No,
Or
for
does the employee, or,
the most part, we haven't run into that. I think we have one where we did.
okay,
Typically, we don't see it very often. The biggest thing that can happen is, because we upload all of our transactions in, and I know you probably seen what's happened being in a bank. Another bank scans it in, and it reads it as completely different.
yeah.
And so sometimes those ones are the ones.
I just would hate if, I didn't look to see who it affected, but I would hate for
Yeah.
One,
So three of those were, the fourth one, Richard, that was our last farmer's market, and he, did not come in, so that was just a void.
oh, okay.
So it was all three businesses, and I know we talked to two of them, and they didn't have any fees associated with it. The two radios, and the Rico just
Great.
Yeah.
So the city of Seaside, the 1,580,
Yeah.
what was that?
Rental fees for the law, so that was kind of part of the, contract with that. It had been missed for a little while, from quite, before I had started, we were kind of back on track with that now. Darren and I kind of came in towards the end of that contract, so now we're starting to take care of that part. So whenever somebody rents it, not the staffing or the refund, the money for the actual rental goes to the city.
You'll remember, a few months ago, we looked at the Bob Chisholm contract with the city, or the ITA. I think in review of that, the city realized and shared with us that we hadn't been making those rental payments, and it wasn't really on Chris, it was kind of a thing that had just got lost in the shuffle of the, transition from finance people. So we caught up, and now we're making, I think we're required to make quarterly.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
really nice.
So we'll see this quarterly,
Yeah.
the 1580.
Yeah. And it could be a different payment, it just depends on how many people rent.
Did we budget for revenue for that room?
Well, yes, we budget the rental, the revenue, and then the expense as well.
We budgeted this, okay. I just have one more question, Madam Chair. I'm on page 3 and 4, it looks like a bunch of withholding checks. So why do we, I mean, there's a score of more checks here, why did we write all those checks to the same place on the same day?
So that is, it is a weird one, for some reason, that's how the system does it, so it's actually throughout the entire month. For the IRS ones, it always posted at that date.
So we can't just send one check to the IRS? And
No.
have them,
We will
I
get,
asked-
no, and
yeah,
have them
No, I asked the same question.
allocate it?
if you're even a few days off, they start tacking a fine on you every single time.
No, but I'm just saying.
Because it's not even a check, these are just the EFTs.
Just
for that.
transfers, right.
Mhm.
But then once the IRS receives that transfer, then they allocate it to the employee that it's supposed to
No,
be
it's
held for?
It's just accrued for the entire payroll.
Right, but this is withholding. We withhold this money from the paychecks of employees, and now we're sending it to the IRS or to the state DOR, right?
Right.
So, we can't just send them one check
Kyle, you're wanting the government to be easy.
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be easy, but at least be efficient.
No, they will,
Those don't go together.
and yeah, this is coming from the revenue agent that we had up here. It's, from when we had a few issues a couple of years ago where, Darren and I were working on it, and even he was like, no, you have to make them, if your payroll's on Friday, you do a separate one on that Friday, the next one, or it won't match up on your calendar, and then when they run it, then they send you a nice little notice saying.
But these were all written on the same day.
That's what I'm saying, that, no, the system, for some reason on this report, the system's reporting it on that date.
Oh,
So
I
these are,
see.
no, we're not
So
doing,
this is
yeah.
for the month.
Correct.
I got
It's
you.
right
Okay,
at-
so that was my
yeah.
problem. They're all being
Yeah.
sent on the same day.
No, and you can kind of tell too, but if you go on the last column where you see the numbers, they're not quite even perfectly in order all the time.
Right,
So like,
right.
they'll jump a few. No, it's definitely, there's, time in between them. We've looked at why it does that, even the auditor went, it's not.
There's
really a
just
big
no
deal,
way to
don't-
streamline that?
Yeah, he's like, don't spend too much money trying to fix something that doesn't have any kind of effect on it. Because, yeah, it even though it reports it that day, when we go in and do our reconciliation for them, it gives us the actual day that it was made. So on this report, it gives the end of the month, so
Okay.
I have no idea why on that. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from, you're
Yeah.
like, why not just do one and not,
Yeah.
not that many, but yeah, it
You
is,
see
it is every,
25 or 30 checks written all on
Right.
the same day to the same place. It's kind of
yeah.
odd.
So I'm curious, just a reminder, the SDIS, that's insurance, correct?
Special Districts Insurance Services.
Yeah, that one would be.
And then, I was just curious why Convergent, we gave them this almost 43,000.
Yeah, it's just another, because, it's just the progress payment.
They're
They
the-
get it in waves.
Yeah,
Not
they're the
all.
contractor for the fire alarm system. Right, and so when they bill us, Chris, the check, that's why there's two in the month, but,
Yeah, they were paid $9,000 a couple weeks before.
yeah. And then
I know.
then they're paying out the contractor that they hired, which is in with the budget.
It's pretty common, even, like, for our audit, we don't pay it all up front. We get it in probably like 3 or 4 payments. He, bills us that as he's completing it.
Okay, any other questions?
So moved.
Any seconds?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mike, all in favor, signify aye, opposed nay, Kyle.
Aye.
Sue. Aye. Mike.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Staff presentation. Courtney looks really, really excited.
Courtney, I made some copies for the board so they could take them home. Here's some, yeah. Anybody want a copy?
Do you know what it is?
It's a presentation. I don't, sorry. you just pointed-
Skylar is the clicker, you pointed him. We're not that high tech here.
I thought there was last time. There might have been,
No, it
yeah.
would have been, maybe been a while. I don't, yeah, it's been Skylar for a while. Although we could probably invest, you know, we have a whole life already left.
That's a nice picture right there.
Yeah, that's my favorite picture.
That is awesome.
That should go in whatever form that the, you know, that big huge report we just reviewed.
We actually, yeah, we need to update it, because I think this is the Forest Field, right? Like, yeah. It's more, it's probably even better.
Find a drone.
Yeah.
So, the maintenance team, our mission is to provide a safe, clean, productive, and well-maintained environment for our community by developing professional services that are sustainable and supporting all SEPRD activities and programming. Our vision, the vision of the maintenance department is to provide excellent services in support of SEPRD's recreational environments through optimizing management systems, best practices, and technology. Maintenance work only gets very often without an accident.
Right.
Yeah. So the maintenance team, I'm the maintenance coordinator, we got a maintenance technician, just started yesterday.
Okay.
2 custodial staff, grounds maintenance worker, and a
You do a lot.
we got a pretty good crew staff.
I remember, yes.
So the main thing we worked on this last year has been the community gardens. We spent a lot of time out there. And anyway, so we did a complete overhaul of the existing gardens. Removed all the fencing boxes in the mark. Replaced it with new garden boxes, including ADA accessible gardening boxes. And put new paved gravel walkways. Pictures, so this is a little video, I don't know if it'll work. Kind of neat, the truck that they got the ribbon with, I don't know if you can see it, but just real
Oh,
short.
wow.
Yeah, just kind of switch the dirt.
Huh,
It's kind of neat.
that saves your back.
We call that a
Yeah.
manure spreader in the Midwest.
Yeah, I guess they'll shoot up to 100 feet.
Wow.
You could have gotten on the highway.
So here are our ports of it, they're sitting there
Waiting for this.
waiting for it to cure, and then the finished product, when it's all done, so.
Yeah.
Hopefully we won't be pouring any snow for a while.
One of the OSU master gardeners, one of their garden plots down there was just beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Man, it was really spectacular.
Yeah, they got the first 4 plots, I guess,
Uh-huh.
we donated to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
awesome.
my wife and I walked through there, and it was really impressive. They did a really nice job.
So, there's a little picture, I didn't have a lot of pictures, so I had to use what I had. So, building the fence.
Great, get this.
And then the fence all done, and then there's the ADA plots.
Did we
Wheelchair
get,
access all around.
did we get people using those?
Not yet.
Yeah.
I think if I remember right, the
They
ADA
don't have any
got-
dirt in them.
They got done kind of late in the season,
Yeah,
so
I
we
do
sort
remember.
of said we're
We'll do
kicking
next
it
year.
to next year.
They're available, if somebody needed one, they're, need some dirt on
Do
Yeah.
people, sorry, I'm interrupting.
there.
Do people grow year-round? I was thinking like squashes, or, I mean, I know there's winter,
I think
people
it's
grow?
things that they grow year-round.
yeah? Just curious.
Yeah, I think with, the
Because there's
plots,
still plants in there.
with the
Yeah.
plots that we had, like, in the back of the pool, we encouraged people to come clean them up, but a lot of people just left theirs and then I don't know if they were actually actively growing things in the winter, but.
The weeds out there.
But they
Yeah.
could,
Yeah.
the root vegetables could stay in the ground.
Yeah. I drove by, many times the other day and was looking, I was like, there's still a lot of plants in there for,
Yeah.
Yeah.
November.
Yeah, there is. Nice and green.
Yeah,
So, just redid one of the gym floors again with some new stuff a new product that's not as much work you have to go through, so. And so far it's holding up good, so just took some pictures of that, that's before and then after,
yeah.
still shiny right afterwards.
And then the children come and put their dirty little shoes all over it.
So we'll be doing the other gym next, pretty quick.
Yeah.
I feel like we did that, how often do you have to do that? I feel like we just did the
So the
main
new
gym.
product, so the old product is supposed to last several years, but
Yeah.
we only got a couple.
Yeah.
So, the new product, they're saying it's like every 6 months,
Oh, okay,
so, but it's a lot easier to do.
okay,
It's not as
okay.
much work.
Yeah, I think we did the big gym like 2 years ago. And we also, that was when we added like the permanent pickleball
Yeah,
lanes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think just like with, the amount of traffic that we get, and then the way that the gyms are built, they don't really, so like, when spectators come into the big gym, they bring the dirt like right onto the gym floor. And there's not like a separate area, where they or enough buffer to keep kind of spectator shoes off of the gym floor.
Right.
And then when you add up like pickleball, PBL, it gets pretty.
Even just one of that, yes.
Yeah, and I know like, my older daughter's age, they're like, basketball shoes do not go outside.
Yeah.
But the younger ones are like, tennis shoes.
Yeah, the perfect world. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. That works out.
Yeah.
So shut down this year, we did a filter media change to the learner pool, replaced the sheet rock and later that plan anyway. And deep cleaning of the pool equipment in the natatorium and some preventive maintenance that we have here on the boilers and the pool equipment.
We got a uniform?
Yeah, I forgot to take that.
Oh, really? I thought that like meant something, like,
No.
you were,
No.
that was your nickname or something.
Just dream.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, the pool is natural.
Yeah.
Right.
So the filter media changed, so you pull the tops off and you can see how nasty the old sand fell out of there, and then they're empty, and that's the new.
But
The new
it's
media
just
is glass.
sand. It's just sand.
The old was sand, now they recommend glass is a lot better. I don't mind glass.
Glass beads, just.
Yeah, lasts longer and filters better.
So what will we
Sweet.
see?
We're trying that out.
Pool, in the pool.
You won't see any
Even cleaner.
No sand.
Sand is just.
Oh, if there's sand, it's brought in by the patrons.
Yeah,
No,
none of
I
it's
mean,
sand in the pool.
because literally, I mean, you're always explaining to people, this is not dirty, this is the filtration system with the sand.
Yeah, there shouldn't be any of the filthy sand, shouldn't be any.
It'll be
That's just people's feet.
people and their feet.
No, I
You
mean.
keep the toes away from it.
I mean, considering how often I'm in the pool, it's nice to think that that won't be there.
So that sand is replaced annually?
Oh,
No,
glass.
so this should be good for about 5 years. But
So-
it hadn't been replaced since 2015 was the last time they.
So when you do the pool maintenance each year, you don't always replace that sand filter?
No, it's kind of based off, so you kind of regauges, so it's based off, you kind of get an idea of how good your filter media is working, so when that starts getting out of range, then start changing it up.
I will say, I don't know if anybody was in the pool, or around the pool when we were shut down or walked through, but the water was so clear, it was crazy. Partly because of the regular cleaning that the team did, but also just like when the pools aren't being used, then the water is a lot cleaner. It's kind of like
Clean.
your house is always cleaner, when you go on vacation.
Yeah.
When you come home, you haven't been there. But yeah, it's really something to see the water quite so clean.
So there they are with the tops back on. You can see there's like a million volts around that thing.
Oh, man.
That's kind of a pain. So then we noticed the ceiling was falling in, so we were ready to shut down and work on that, and then when we ended up pulling out the sheet rock, we saw it was all that damage.
Skylar shared.
Yeah, I did sure.
Now we gotta
And where is that?
The weight room.
The old weight room.
Okay.
Was that a sudden onset week, or was it just sort of chronic?
There's like a lot of conflicting, we've had several roofers look at it, and some think it's condensation, and some think it's a roof leak, so.
Well, so is it
Combination of both.
an insurance thing, or?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. One thing that's
Rain.
interesting is,
Conversation, yeah.
there was a water buildup, so it would have happened eventually, but the drywall cracked when they were doing all the work on the field, all the compaction and moving the building over. That's when the crack first kind of really appeared. And then we, like, mental note, like, okay, we're gonna get to this during shutdown, and thought it would be like a 2 or 3 day project, and then, the team ripped it open, and it was,
A little more than drywall, but to
Yeah.
fix that.
Yeah, and all the power goes through there. All goes.
Oh, great.
yeah, all the admin office power, the way that the building was wired or constructed, yeah, it runs, you can see in those conduits, yeah.
Time to move to the West Wing.
All right, questions? I put it, look, someday I'll like say it.
Yeah, that's really cool, I like that.
So, are there maintenance issues that you see potentially becoming a problem in the next 3, 4, 5, 10 years?
The roofs are, there's some roof issues,
That's a big one.
and then maybe, there's only the boilers. But everything else, and roof company.
So the boilers are close to end of life, is that what you're saying?
Hopefully we'll get a few more years out, but yeah, some of them are being taken.
Yeah.
What about the HVAC?
HVAC's still going good. We made it on it, but yeah, it's getting old too. Also.
What's our biggest, exposure, maintenance exposure?
I think the roofs.
The roofs, okay.
Just because they're so cost, they're very expensive to replace.
Are they meltdown roofs?
Most of them. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we're just trying to keep up on it.
They always leak, I see.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah, nothing major yet, but potentially there's some spots in there.
Well, it looks very nice.
I've got a question. In the lobby, near the front entrance in the corner, there's been a leak in that ceiling since the building addition was built.
Yeah.
And I did that mosaic, that ceiling has leaked for over 20 years. So what's the deal, and when are we gonna fix that?
Yeah, I know, we just started actively leaking, today.
I know
We pulled that section out there and tried looking and sealing it and finding a spot where it's coming in, but
There's a roof drain up there, isn't there?
yeah.
A scupper through?
There's a drain, the scupper is down the drain.
Okay.
I probably ought to go in there and clean that mosaic and reseal it. It'd be pretty hard for the water to damage that thing.
Yeah.
But it's fortunate,
Yeah, that'd probably be
but
good.
it's, but I haven't cleaned and I have the stain to restain some of the elements in there.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought about doing it at a shutdown previously, but, haven't gotten into it. It's all covered with mats all the time.
Yeah, it is.
But, I could work with you to volunteer again to reseal that,
Sure. Yeah.
clean it and reseal it.
Yeah, depending on how long it takes to set it up. Do it on the weekend or.
Because to let it dry out a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for
In the
your.
winter, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is not the season for that then, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know, like all them drains, so there's a drain also, like that one at the front door that's in the women's locker room, and it's always got the same moisture running down it also, so it's a lot of condensation.
Yeah.
Repeat it.
Those walls have got waterproofing issues.
Full,
You
right?
can spray a clear sealant on them, but it doesn't last very long.
Yeah.
I remember when they built that addition, the contractor did all kinds of weird things. The women's dressing room, Mary Blake and Mike Marshall were supervising the construction, and the staff was supervising the construction. They put the windows in the women's locker room, they put them in upside down, the weep holes were in the wrong way.
Oh, really?
And I said, Mary, those windows are in upside down.
Wow.
You know, and they tried to paint,
Good thing you
they were
know.
block frames, I think, so they took them out, redid them. But those are the weird kind of things that it shouldn't have.
Yeah, that's why you really gotta watch them, you have to keep working on it.
Never trust a contractor.
Yeah.
Well, everybody can make mistakes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Courtney.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you and all your team, for sure. Keep us looking good.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I would just add, and I think everybody knows that, it was around like end of July, early August when anybody left.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, we put a lot on Courtney's plate, with that departure. Levi was a big part of our team and had a lot of knowledge about the district and has worked in recreation facilities for a long time. And Courtney's done really amazing work, and, it's no secret that, or it's no surprise to me that, his team is really solid. And you saw, you know, Brandon was here tonight, but there's 4 or 5, maybe now 6, of his team, and they're all intact. There hasn't been a lot of turnover. They're working really hard. They have great attitudes. Like you said, we just hired a maintenance technician. Tom, I was gonna say Tom or Dan, but he has a bunch of facility experience. He used to work for facilities at Providence Hospital and a different hospital in Pendleton. And he's really excited and brings a lot of knowledge, so I think he'll be great. So I think the board probably and the public definitely don't get visibility to the hours and knowledge and stuff that Courtney's put in, but appreciate it a lot, especially getting us through shutdown, and that can be a stressful experience, but it's handled really well, so thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Strong work, Courtney.
Thanks, Courtney. Feel free to stay or go.
Bye, have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
That last picture,
Yeah.
what facility is that?
I'm not sure. He said
That's his,
that's what he wants the SRC to look like.
yeah.
Okay, have a good
SoFi
night.
Stadium in Los Angeles.
All right, moving along. Still ahead of schedule. Old business, strategic plan update.
I feel like,
No, this makes me feel good that
I
we're
know,
moving
you
along.
say it as if like, you're winning and I'm losing, and I think I'm winning.
No, we are all winning
Okay.
together.
I gotta adjust my time
No.
expectations, because once I put it on there, I'm like, I don't know if she's, okay.
Maybe
All
I
right.
should start like writing down when we finish things so that,
Yeah, no.
then you
we're
could be
doing
like,
great. I appreciate your guys' time, especially during Thanksgiving week, so. Strategic plan update, okay, so it was, the last board meeting where we finally had a draft of the plan, and we gave, our steering committee and the board and some staff, opportunities to review the plan, and I just want to take a moment before I start to just really appreciate the feedback that I got. Every one of the board members provided feedback. A lot of feedback was received, had one-on-ones or good conversations with the majority of the board, at least the quorum of the board, with staff, with steering committee members, poured over the document myself, presented the feedback or worked through the feedback with our owner's rep, Chris from Klosh Group. And I'm going to be honest and plead ignorance a little bit. This is my first time going through this process. So I just wasn't sure how to do this really well, and I wasn't sure what kind of product we'd get back. The feedback that I received and that I felt myself was that the product needed to be edited and bolstered and reworded in some areas, and some parts were a little too wordy and some parts were not wordy enough. And the majority, not everybody's opinion, but the majority of the feedback that I received was pretty, was supportive of that. So I drafted an email to our consultants and shared it with them, and some of the feedback that I shared with them, and I'm just going to go through it because I haven't had the chance to share this with the board, but the document lacked a cohesive voice and style, that there was lots of examples of unnecessary language that made the document kind of cumbersome, and took away from the meaning. There was lots of misspellings, including some of the board members' names and positions that were misspelled. My name was misspelled. There was a reference to a different park and rec agency in the document. We felt like the document's graphics and aesthetic could be improved. There was duplicate photos and a lot of the graphs and other visual representations that were used to express information that I think would be really helpful were not always legible or helpful in the way that they were presented. I think there was near consistent feedback that chapters 3 and 4, which we were hoping would be probably the strength of the document, were lighter in terms of their content and how helpful they would be for us moving forward. And yeah, there was some other feedback, so this is the email that I sent to them. So in doing that, we were welcomed to provide that feedback and met with the team, and they appreciated the feedback that we gave them. We set a new deadline of December 13th to revise the draft and get it back to the district, hoping that at that point it will be improved, and the board will have it when I have it, and we'll hopefully be able to review. And if if some of the edits have been made, then we'll have the opportunity to adopt the strategic plan at our January meeting.
So what comes out on December 13th, is that
A
the
revision of
next
the
final
revision.
draft, or is
Yes.
that the final?
Well, that'll be up to the authors, I think. I think we made it clear like where we stood, and I think if we get a revision that feels a lot like the version that we got before, I think there will be some frustration, and we'll probably express that, and then we'll get another revision. I'm hoping that we won't get many more revisions. I'm hoping we're pretty close to a final draft.
How is the relationship?
It's great.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say I had a lot of, not having gone through the experience before, having some writing background, I didn't want to hurt people's feelings. And I had to kind of balance that with my desire to do right by the district and by the resources that we've invested, and really want a polished, finished product that we're all proud of. And it didn't feel like we were there in the feedback that I got. So that outweighed my desire to be a people pleaser in this instance. But Brandon, to his credit, welcomed the feedback with open arms, was receptive, acknowledged some improvements could be made, and we set this deadline of December 13th to get that feedback incorporated into the next version of the draft. Next version of the document.
Well, I felt like I was a bit aggressive in my editing, and I wanted to make sure that didn't cause him to recoil.
So what I did with all of the versions of feedback that I got is I consolidated them into one document that I had my marks on it, and I took, your marks and Mike's thoughts and Catherine and Celeste's thoughts and the other folks that I heard from. And so it kind of looked like this is a synthesized feedback. Here you go.
Which it should, because.
Yeah, and I thought it would have been really hard for them to pour through 5 or 6 versions.
Right, but that's their job.
Right.
I mean, we shouldn't have to be doing their editing work for them.
Yeah.
Well, but I think it's fair to consolidate feedback and not have to send.
Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine, and it allows Skylar to synthesize different board spots on different
Yeah.
paragraphs, so that's fine, but I don't wanna let them off the hook.
Yeah.
Not me. So, did you approach the subject if this was anyway AI generated?
I think I didn't use those terms, but I did say that it was really important to us that the document felt like it was written in a cohesive manner, and it didn't. And I think, to their credit, the team admitted that there had been a chunk
There
done by
were
this.
three different authors.
There was different consultants that were working on it, and that I think the thread of continuity kind of got lost. So.
Well, I thought it was quite interesting that an English teacher stated, if you've got flowery adjectives, that's the first thing they look at for an AI product. And so that was an unsolicited comment, because I was just so frustrated trying to navigate that thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I ask the question.
Always a fan of strange words. I call it prolix and turgid.
Your radii. How about your radii?
It's overly wordy and,
Yeah.
and fluffy, overblown,
Well,
swollen.
yeah, I agree.
I,
For both.
on one paragraph, I wrote, gag me.
I just crossed entire paragraphs out. I
Yeah.
mean, they're just meaningless. They just didn't have any useful.
I had submitted comments just on the SEA portion before, the artwork and the plans, which didn't sync exactly with the recommendations or the, strategic plan, but, I think there's a lot to look at on that too, the way that was put together.
Well.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that we see a better document in December.
Yeah.
Skylar, when that, comes in, excuse me, will you, email that out
Yeah.
to us? 'Cause
Absolutely.
And then do you want us to follow the same process, go through it, make notes?
I guess what I'm hoping will be that it will be evident from an initial glance at the document that it looks and feels different, because I think that's what we're asking for, right? I don't think we're asking for, you gotta dig too hard to see that, oh, this feels like a better, more cohesive document. If the cohesion is there, if stylistically some of the stuff is improved, formatting looks better, then I think we dig in a little bit and we make sure that it contains all of the things, the components that we wanted, like is heavy in the right places. But yeah, if need be, and we think we do need to do those heavy edits again, then yeah, I probably will ask.
Well, I would like to take another look at it.
Yeah.
So have they fulfilled, I mean, irrespective of the writing of the strategic plan, have they fulfilled their contractual requirements?
I think until the way that Chris and I have interpreted the contract or the agreement, is that we're unhappy, we're the client, we're unsatisfied with the plan as presented, like in their RFP, and we can find things in the RFP that they haven't met yet, then they're still obligated to continue.
Okay.
And I think they feel like that too, I mean, to be honest.
I think they want to.
Yeah, we know, as Scott has
Still
with
know how.
architecture, yeah, they want to
Yeah.
continue a strong partnership with us, so it's in their best interest to continue and put out a good product, and I think this is a little fragmented because of the multi-consultants that are participating in it, like having the company in Florida also be an author helping with it, that's made it maybe a little more difficult.
I think anytime a business puts their name on something, they want it to be a good product, it's a reflection of them.
Well, and I don't want our patrons to read that from us.
Well,
Because, I mean, to me, the opacity, whatever, the opposite of transparency, is enough for me to be concerned that any patron reading it going, what? We don't, that's not part of our mission or our vision statement. So it just needs to be precise, concise,
It needs to be strong.
and transparent.
Needs to be strong, because this is the message that we're gonna be sharing with any and everyone we ask for grants. And I think it sends a message that, we are being progressive and moving definitely forward, and it's not very clear in the way it wants us to move.
So I just think the process was a little awkward, and I guess, my brain maybe works funny, but I say, well, let's collect the data first, and then let's analyze the data, and then based on that analysis, let's come up with a series of recommendations, and then based on those recommendations, we can cull out the ones that don't work and recommend the ones that do. But it didn't really follow that path, so I was trying to find a direct link between what they discovered in their analysis of our organization and what they recommended, and it was hard for me to do that.
Okay. December.
Sorry. 2013.
Fire alarm update. They patched a lot of, well, not patched, but put pieces back over a lot of the holes.
Yeah, we are really close to being finished. We got an update from Convergent, and they're just waiting on a few last minute parts, but most of the work has been completed. They still need to finish up and then test the system. That's probably a 2 or 3 day process for that testing.
Is that like a weekend, or are they gonna try and do it during the week?
I think they can do it with minimal impact to our programs, but the plan, the original timeline that we had hoped for was that testing would take place like today and tomorrow, or maybe be done early next week. So we're still optimistic for that. Yeah, it's gone well. Like you said, a lot of the ceiling panels are back in. We pulled the old wire. Yeah, it's looking good. We haven't gotten trained on the new system yet, and neither has the fire department, so that's another kind of
You should have asked Courtney, but I'll ask you, you can ask Courtney, or maybe you'll answer. Do we have a plan for, so like where they cut in the panels in the gym to remove those giant walls? They look terrible now, because they, like, yeah. Do we have a patching plan?
We do.
or
We have a patching and a painting plan in the gym.
Okay.
I'm not sure when we'll get to it, but.
Yeah, at least the gyms, I feel like, just because they get so much visibility, it just is a great reflection of us right now.
Yeah. Don't disagree.
Okay, just SDCs.
This is just remaining on the agenda, but I don't have an update because we are waiting. One of the outstanding things that we wanted to complete before we proceeded with SDCs was to have the strategic plan done. So we have a finished product that we can share with our consultants, and SDCs are impacted by some of the planning that you can do, and we don't want to duplicate that planning with what might already be contained in the strategic plan.
Okay.
Traffic impact analysis, I believe I shared it with the board in an update, but the draft was submitted to the district last week. On 11/21, the study shows that anticipated traffic counts are in line with ODOT standards. So preliminarily, at least from what our consultants' review is, no future mitigation of traffic is going to be required. That'll be up to the city and, more importantly, ODOT for their review. But once the district, we've approved the draft, and it'll be submitted, the document will be submitted to ODOT and the city for their review. But I would encourage everybody to look at that, because it does give you some interesting data about how the intersections regarding the SRC, the entrance to the SRC, the Visitors Bureau entrance, the Broadway entrance, and then the Lincoln entrance, how those are being used, how many, the vehicle counts, I think is really telling. So, I don't know, it's interesting data, I guess, if you're into that kind of thing.
Sort of related, kind of not, query about the parking lot. 2 things. Do we have a plan for striping the parking lot? Because it is non-existent.
We do have a plan, yeah. We haven't acted on the plan. We, I think, it's kind of one of those situations that we find a lot with the SRC. We want to make a smaller investment in part of the building, or in the space of the building, knowing that there's a larger investment that needs to be made. So the parking lot needs to be reconfigured, probably some curbing to be added, maybe some plants, some lights, those types of things that come with modern parking lots. Do we want to make that investment in the parking lot now, or do we want to just stripe it and make that investment in 3 to 5 years?
I would say striping is not going to last super long there. That's like a year, maybe 2 kind of an investment. And my concern at the moment is the striping that we have not done since we bought the building, and was probably not done before then, is gone. The only thing that you see is the markings for the farmer's market.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you are in that parking lot for a crazy PBL weekend, I got boxed in because people just thought, let's park 3 to redo a person, you know?
Oh, my goodness.
And then there were people driving, they had to drive around to like get out, and there were kids like, it was just complete and utter controlled chaos, in not a controlled way, but, my suggestion, and I don't know how much it costs to stripe a parking lot, but would just be put something temporary down, particularly, like, this is not even busy for that parking lot yet. And I feel like it's a safety hazard, that something's not gonna, that we're gonna have fender benders, we're gonna, hopefully not have some little kid hit, but it is complete chaos right now, because people are just parking everywhere. And in the second part of that question, many years ago, when we first bought the building, we had discussed the oversized vehicles, and they were still going to the chamber to get a overnight pass or something to register. Is that a thing that we're still doing? Are we gonna continue with
Yeah,
that?
they go to the Visitors Bureau in the chamber building, and they, at least the cars that are parked there legally, get a pass or get permission, and they have to post that, in a way that's, easy for us to identify them, and then that pass is also emailed to us, and we're able to work with the,
Is the Domino's truck part of that?
I don't know, I don't think so.
Okay.
Just to be, if I had to guess, probably less than half of the oversized vehicles that use the lot are actually approved.
So that one
Make them pay.
takes up, has a huge truck
Yeah.
that has a sleeper van, and it takes up that whole front part of the parking lot.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I was
Is it
just,
parked there like overnight?
yes, and, I think they've just, like, we're gonna stop, because they have their whole, down the coast kind of a thing. But we have been there, it's pretty much every Saturday, and he's taken up that whole front row, and I was just curious how that was still working.
Yeah. If there's those times, I think we have good visibility as staff management presence in that space. But please let me know, and we can, the local police department has been really willing to have those interactions with, the drivers, assuming that they can be found.
Yeah.
And ask them to move along, so we don't really want that space, and we work with the Visitors Bureau to not use that space for busy PBO weekends, for farmers market days, for other times when we know the parking lot will be full. That's our priority.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah.
But anyway, my 2 cents would be to throw some paint on the ground.
Yeah.
Sooner rather than later.
Let me see if we can get a couple of quotes and see what, I don't really know what that.
And I wholeheartedly agree and understand that whole parking lot's gonna need reimagining and.
Well, we've got a lot of parking lot space, why don't we just buy a striping machine? Because it's only gonna last a couple of years anyway, we'll have to keep doing it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And my confidence in Courtney's capability of doing that is pretty high.
Yeah.
Throw some paint down.
Yeah, that might be.
Might be a worthwhile investment.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a little crazy. Anyway, okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
My next favorite topic,
Yeah.
crosswalk
Do you wanna
improvement.
see it?
Oh, yes, is that a thing?
I brought one picture of it's not an elaborate, picture or anything, but it is a.
Yes.
So this is the product
I
that
do.
we have purchased. We completed the paperwork with the vendor, the last day or two. And, 2 crosswalks are gonna be shipped to the Public Works Department, and then their, partnership includes installing them for us. I guess I keep saying for us, it is
Their road.
kind of, yes, but, we're really thankful for like I said, the partnership, the support. If you remember, they provided the funds for this in the Visitors Bureau purchase, and, almost the full amount. We were off by like $100 or a couple $100, but pretty marginal. They are solar powered, as you can see. The panels are facing south. They came out and did a report on how effective the solar panels would be, because I think that was probably a question that they get.
Yeah.
But they should be fine, they should be adequate. The system can support, up to 600, what they call activations in even our darkest month of December, per day.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry,
600
per
day,
month.
per month.
Per month, yeah. And then they can
20
support
per
up
day.
to 1,200 in the summer months.
Okay.
So, I don't know how many people are using that
Well-
crosswalk, but 600 a month, it seems
Not a
like,
lot.
is, yeah,
Yeah.
is gonna be adequate. If not, then we'll maybe.
Well, okay, so here's my question, it's 600 a month in the winter month, that's just when it would be dark, right? Or is that?
That's how many activations it can support.
The solar panel can only capture 600.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is like, in the daytime, is the daytime part counting as part of that 600, or is it, because it's not using,
I think it would,
like, it can recharge, so like it gets pushed, recharge, but then at night, it's using the battery, so then,
right, but it doesn't, so like,
I don't know, maybe I'm not.
I think the activation doesn't draw on the whole, I mean, there's like a bank of power,
Yeah.
right? And it can charge enough so that it can, it only gets, like in the 1.83 hours of charging time in December per day, it can provide enough bank of power so that 600 people, 600 activations per month can use it.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited.
20 per day.
Yeah, I 20 per day may or may not cover it, but I honestly think it'll be a significant improvement.
Yeah.
And I think once people see those blinking lights there, the brain will be trained to slow down,
Yeah,
and hopefully visibility will improve.
so excited.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity though, if we find that the solar, I mean, is there a reason that we couldn't tap into power? Like, it's on a main road.
There is, it is possible. It would take a little bit more investment,
Well-
especially on the,
But is it our investment or is it the city's investment? Because it's the city's road, just saying.
well,
I mean,
I would only say, Madam Board President, that it's been the city's road for my entire life.
I hear you, but I feel like once that gets put in, that it becomes
Yeah,
the city's to replace, maintain, like, we're not gonna be.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. That's,
So if
that's
it,
been clear.
if it turns out that that is not, in fact, and like, the solar isn't working, I feel like that would be, they would need to
Yeah.
dig a hole or run a wire or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
Did I hear you say there were two?
there's
yeah, one for each side.
She said it's-
Okay.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, there's some other, I think maybe when we have a little, more sunlight and drier days, we could consider some of the other improvements that we talked
Yeah.
about maybe widening the crosswalk or adding some brightly colored paint in the crosswalk area to bring more visibility, or, yeah, taking out additional parking spots, outright adding in some curbing,
Yeah.
lantern boxes or whatever.
My problem is visibility, around the cars that are parked on there, I've been surprised with people stepping out between the cars.
Yeah.
So,
How about sidewalk improvement on both sides, on the, south side of the street?
That'll be your next,
There's no,
Yeah, sidewalk kind of runs out right there.
yeah.
have there been incidents?
There's been numerous near misses, and anecdotally.
During the day or at night or
Oh,
weekend?
yeah, especially at night though, and, around swim lesson time, pickup time, it can get a little bit hairy, yeah.
I will say, Kyle, that this is why I joined the board, honestly. I mean, I'm not kidding, like, as a parent who was spending, when my kids were little, library, park, pool, I have been, the almost hitter driving through that intersection and the almost hitting so many times. And, little kids starting in and out. And I think Celeste asked a good question last time we talked about this, about, how many times have we had to replace that sign that's in the middle of the road? How many times has that been hit?
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, that didn't initially exist there.
Yeah, that has been a new, so anyway, I think I'm excited.
I mean, I was impressed where I'm slowing down and there's a police officer coming, you know, the opposite direction, and he says, thank you.
Yeah,
And I'm like, for following the law?
right,
I mean, thank you for thanking me, but gosh, it is the law,
yeah,
because I
It's
don't
the
want
crosswalk.
children hurt.
I know, anyway.
But it's not just the crosswalk though, it's a block on one side and 2 blocks on the other.
Yes.
It's just a little dicey for me.
I would agree, but I think having a safe space to cross right there, because it gets you from the pool to the library, from the pool to the Bob Chisholm. It's just such a busy crosswalk. When football games, you know, nighttime dark, and they're trying to, trying to cross. Yeah, I appreciate you seeing that through.
Well, I will happily push the button with you once they are arrived and installed. Optimistic.
Can we do a ribbon cutting with some giant scissors?
That would be fun. I would,
With a ribbon stretch
Yes.
across the road.
when I was walking over here, I was thinking, I bet by the next board meeting, I'll push the button and
Yeah.
cross much safer.
Yeah.
I think we should alert the media.
That, with our lights.
Really have, yeah.
I think we ought to name, I think we ought to call it the Parker Crossing.
Our legacy, better than a toilet.
That's actually funny.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you, Skylar.
So be it.
New business, SRC gym proposal review and adopt, which is somewhere in here, I got it. It is about halfway through. A little more than halfway through. Is the scoring new? That's a new thing?
Everything is new.
Okay. I appreciate this, like, yeah, I think we should have a way to evaluate.
Yeah, we wanted to formalize this a little bit better in the past. Zoe's done an awesome job at finding sponsorships. That's how we got, wasn't actually Zoe, it was Melissa, her predecessor, but that's how we got the sponsorship for the gym. But that sponsorship kind of term has ended, and we've had a few parties express interest, but it didn't feel like we were managing the process in an equitable or in the best interest of the district. So this just, I know it's a little bit, I don't know, bureaucratic, maybe adds more work for us, but I think it brings equity to the process and puts a standard to it, and it gives the businesses that want to sponsor some flexibility in how they choose to do it. So they could say, we want a reader board installed and we'll pay for it, and we want this gym to be named the Coddington Gym or the Nike Gym or whatever
Okay,
it might
well, if
be.
we're naming a gym, we're asking for more than $5,000.
I know,
Because
but
I will fork over $5,000.
we
to name a
didn't
park gym.
actually, we didn't put a,
You gotta pay for the crosswalk name.
we didn't,
I'll buy a little plaque, a tiny little plaque to put on it.
I could just see my kids going,
it's okay. We didn't put a value. I know it says that we estimate it, but what we probably, I mean, this is part of the public record, but we won't, like, we're gonna put together a little material or a handout or flyer or something like that to give to interested businesses, but we probably won't say it's valued at least $5,000. If someone asks us, we may say it is around this, but we actually don't really know, and it's kind of a guess. It's, every place I ask, it's something different, or it's this, or it's kind of a weird arrangement, so I just think we owed it to ourselves to formalize the process.
Well, okay, so, but if we're trying to have some, like, very clear expectations and visibility, I do think we should outline the cost of sponsorship to make it very clear and not like, well, how much do you have? Well, how much do you have? Because especially since your duration of agreement, bidders can select 1, 2, or 3 years. So is it, I don't know, I think we should have a dollar amount.
I think that,
Because
like I said, I don't know, I really valued the opportunity for the business to say, I just want this size of sign, and I only want it for 1 year. and I think it's worth this much. And then we can say, well, actually, no, we'll evaluate that, but we think this proposal that we got, or this type of marketing or branding, at this value, this term, is more in line with what we were thinking.
Well,
Are you saying it puts too much on the business to
I
decide
don't-
those things? Or-
I just don't think it becomes kind of equitable then, or transparent. I think it's a little bit more bargaining, like, well, I don't know. I mean, it is a sponsorship, but I feel like $500, you know, how they have like gold, silver, bronze, you know, all the levels.
We don't, I guess I'm speaking for the staff perspective, and maybe the board feels differently, but we didn't want a thing on the gym that had 15 different businesses. I don't wanna have to have our staff manage that, because the challenge of a third of those sponsors, just speaking from our experience, getting them to pay is difficult. Or we put the sign up and then they never pay. That's happened.
Sign doesn't go up until they pay.
I understand, but if it's, so do we hold up the whole process because we're waiting for Clinton Enterprises? Well,
There's no requirement that somebody, I mean, there's no expectation that somebody gets to have their name in the gym unless they've paid. If they haven't paid, you don't get your name in the gym. Yes, Mike?
Question is, we haven't named the gyms, have we?
No.
Maybe the gym should have names so that the sponsor's name doesn't, you know, if we have one sponsor and they're gone in 3 years, we'll still call it the Parker Gym, you know? Even though the Parker Gym is not paying any dues. So, but what if the gyms had other names, or, you know, how will that work? You know, when you're rotating sponsors, you know?
I mean,
'Cause
I'm still fine calling it the Nike Gym if they wanna come put a new roof on the building.
If Nike Gym wants to give us $500,000 a year, I might buy into that. I don't know, you know, once we name it the first time, people are gonna call it that name forever. Unless we identify it some other way, unless we take ownership in some way. It's great to have sponsors though. That can offset revenue, it can keep fees low for programs. It can help generate new programs.
Could put a Black Friday TV in there to
So I don't know,
rotate
that's my only
advertisement of all
thought.
of our sponsors.
Do people know, about sponsorships? Cause I didn't know anything about it until I read what you wrote.
I think the business community knows. I don't know. I mean, I think Zoe has worked really hard to, establish
put the word out.
connections and offer sponsorships. This is different. We haven't offered either gym,
How
a
do
sponsorship.
I mean,
other sponsorships work in our district?
She has, a very detailed sponsorship package that she, works through with a potential sponsor. There's different levels and includes different types of advertising and, branding and,
But I-
contractual agreements, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
Branding.
so she's got dollar amount levels, right? And then she collects the money before it goes on the flyer.
Not always.
Not always.
It's difficult.
Then their name doesn't go on the flyer.
But then,
you can't hold up the flyer.
Yeah, it's time sensitive.
So is money.
I mean, at Canby Tourist, we're asking people to, you know, donate money, and we ask them, their name goes in the program, but if by a certain date they haven't given it, it's not in the program. So there's that bound there.
Well, I just think that, I don't wanna get into the management of the process, you know. Those guys can figure that out. I'm still a little confused. So you're offering one sponsorship, an exclusive deal to sponsor a gym. And we can't have 2 sponsors or 10 sponsors or 50 sponsors.
I think we could, but we haven't done that. Previously, the gym, the big gym was sponsored by, yeah.
What does the sponsor get in return? Just their name?
That's up to
Giant
them.
sign that is hanging in the gym
No, I
currently.
mean, I think the way that we, worded, and the way that we'll word this is that it's up to them to decide what they want. And like I said, I think renaming a gym is not off the table, or a big sign, a TV, you can put, like, extenders on scoreboards, and it can be up there. It could be something on the floor, you know, if it was a big sponsor, then they want their logo on the
It
floor.
could be a light, bat symbol with somebody's logo on it. So, I'm intrigued with Mike's idea of naming the gyms separate from sponsorship. And giving them a place name that people can relate to. And my interest would be getting a Native American community to help us name some things, because we kind of stripped away the names they had for stuff. So let's give them a chance to read them if we can. Or our Consuelo. Yeah, they might have some ideas for some names.
Yeah, I think colloquially, the gyms have names, they're not really formal, they're just like Gym 1 or Gym 2, or the big gym or the little gym. But I like the idea of naming them formally.
We could name the pool too.
Sunset Pool. Do you mean like different than that?
Well, I'm just saying that people are more, have a higher affinity to a place name that means something to them.
Yeah.
We could have a contest. You know,
I mean, maybe the pickleballers should have
Oh, I'm sure
a
they do.
voice in the name of the gym or something.
You know, have you seen where they
Name
hold
it after
contests
killing
to
my
name
cat.
the snowplows?
So Skylar, I'm fine with this. If you guys, I think this process will probably identify some warts that you'll have to figure out as you move around. I'm a little curious though about why we would give points for their alignment with our mission. Wouldn't that be a pass-fail? I mean, if they're not aligned with our mission, why would we give them any
Yes,
points?
we could, I think, to me, I guess there's some businesses or business interests or community partners that have, I don't know, more alignment than others. And so I think awarding, having some flexibility in that way, that's why that appealed to me. That number.
You know, if the weed shop comes in and I don't know if that's much alignment.
What if it's a bar?
I don't know if that's much alignment either. I mean, we stand for
Recreation.
parks
Sorry.
If it's a
and
bar and grill.
recreation, and, I mean, if it's a hotel that sells alcohol, yeah, I'm okay with that.
Sure. I think those are, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think we want the, cannabis dispensary to have sponsorship, but, there might be certain businesses that have more alignment than others, I guess.
Could be veterans gymnasium, veterans gym,
Yeah,
veterans auditorium.
yeah, or name it after a, war hero, or, I don't mind, but I think it's nice if we could have a name for those places.
Well, I don't want us to forget, when Stubby Lyons died, we were,
Yeah.
we've not done anything to honor him, at least, with our group.
We could call it the Lion's Den.
But and it doesn't have to be a person's name, it could be, the salmon gym, or the blue whale gym, or whatever, but I think it adds to the character of a place if it has a name.
Call it the Lewis and Clark,
Yeah, Calden, Lewis, and Lynn Clark.
Yeah. Which one's bigger?
Call me Jen.
So, do you want, this red
do we move this forward, or second it? You made a motion, didn't you, Kyle?
Well, on the back, it tells us what to say.
Oh, it does, okay.
You don't have to say that, if you don't want to. Do your own, it's your meeting.
So, I'll make a motion, and I'll move that, the board authorize, staff to move forward with a selection process, using their best information that they have available, and come back with some sponsors. I don't think I want to direct how they go about it, as long as it's fair.
Do we have a second?
Well, I'm trying to understand why we have what the motion would look like versus what Kyle just said, because it sounds like you're supposed to get the sponsors and then come back and we'll approve them. And I don't think that's
Based on his
appropriate.
motion or what I wrote?
Well, I'm just not sure what you wrote and what he just said, how they, you know, and if that's okay.
What he's saying is he wants to go out to bid for sponsorships. But we authorize him to go out to bid, he goes out to bid, he gets bids back, and then he selects one that he thinks is the winning bid. And then the board will approve whatever that winning bid is. That's normally the bidding process, right? So we'll have another bite of the apple when the
Is that what
bids
you
are back.
So we don't do that for any other sponsorships?
See,
Well, this is a competitive bid. This
See, I-
isn't just a sponsorship where he's selling a $200, logo on a paper. This is going out to bid, right? That's a different process.
It's not a bid, but I think
Yeah.
it's opening up a process. And I think the way that I intended the motion, not that I disagree with bringing the motion, or bringing the, bidders, I guess, back for review or for approval, the way I intended it was that the board is authorizing staff to, pursue sponsorships and select from those sponsorships the best fit that we see fit based on this criteria. And the only reason why I would say if we are going to do that process where we bring it back, that's gonna put us on a different timeline than the one that I think we're hoping to capture. Because what we'd love to do is have the bidding process be open in the next week or so, and select a sponsor by the end of the calendar year and get sponsorship, if possible, unless there's like substantial requests to, I don't know, rename things, for example, then we could have sponsorships in place and visible to the public by January 5th and 6th, which is like our first, like, PBL segment. So just trying to capture the
So,
traffic.
So do you
how about if
want-
I revise
I was gonna say,
how
how
about
about
if I-
Ben?
And,
how
sorry,
about
if I can just say one other thing, that I think might add some, yes, you are absolutely right. We've never come to the board before this, but the reason why I felt like it was important, in addition to like what we've already talked about, was, there have been times where, we will get a sponsor that expresses interest and we go a different way, or there's not enough room for them, or we already have that level of sponsor, and we've had some that have grown frustrated. So I think we wanted something codified that gave staff, the board is authorizing staff to move forward with this, that you're entrusting us with this decision process.
I do think I remember that you came to us with the TLC sponsorship. I remember having that discussion.
I know I shared it with you. I don't know if I said you approved, but
No, I
may
don't,
have,
yeah, I don't know that we
Yeah.
did approve, like, did that whole, but I do remember that it came to the board
Yeah.
level, whereas like Zoe, other than seeing it on flyers, I mean, I have no clue what she's doing with sponsorship, so yeah. Okay, you're gonna.
So, this is kind of backwards the way we normally do things. Normally, we go out to bid where we're paying a contractor to perform some kind of service. And now, I guess it's really not going out to bid, it's more
No.
like quotes.
Yeah.
Now we're going out and we're asking them to tell us how much they're gonna pay us in return for a certain service. And if that is, I know if we're buying and the dollar amount is a certain amount, then that kind of puts us into the bidding threshold, right? So we don't really know if it's,
Yeah, I would say if we cross that line, I would probably want to come back. I think the threshold for that is like $50,000.
okay.
Yeah.
So, then my motion is that, I move that the board authorize staff to proceed with the sponsor selection process for SRC.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, signify by aye, opposed nay.
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
aye, you okay, Mike?
You guys need a break, or can
Yeah.
you get anybody anything to make them more comfortable, more water?
I'm okay.
You
I
can
just
pack
had
for me.
I can what?
had a
You can
strong
pack for me.
Tuesday.
Pack? You
Yeah.
packing? You leaving?
I have to leave
Back
at 7:00.
You going to
I have to
Chicago?
go, I have to go, no, I have to go get a tree.
A Christmas tree?
No,
Okay.
no, a tree for Nick.
Water, anybody, or?
Yes, please.
You're doing great, you guys are troopers, as always.
We're behind.
Well, you're doing stuff.
I know.
have to pack and leave at 7:00. Well,
Losing my voice. Thank you. All right, SDAO board consultation review, which is also right behind what we were just talking about. This is in reference to our meeting that we had before our last board meeting with Bob Keeper. Basically, he said a lot of nice things about us, which was good, and provided us with some things to work on. So the first one was to set clear written guidelines on how best to deal with any issues and complaints from the public. Guidelines should include how to address concerns brought to the board in the form of a customer service plan. That sounds more like a hey template thing.
Well, it closely aligns with one of my objectives, so I think there's some synergy there that I'm pleased about, and something that I'm working on. Yeah.
Next one, develop a comprehensive strategic plan, working on that.
you're just going down the recommendations, right?
Yeah,
I had a question, whatever happened to Erica's paperwork?
Erica?
Yeah, when she was on the board.
Erica Marshall, what happened to her paperwork?
Yeah, I thought we had, looked at some HR stuff and, like handling complaints and things like that, and I just don't.
Well,
know
I think
what-
we progressed to hiring a HR manager. Was how that turned, we discussed it, and we went through a phone service,
We have, yeah, so, I'm trying to remember exactly what you're referring to.
She had documents, like, if you have a customer with a complaint,
You're talking about customer or internal, like an employee?
all of it. I mean, the paperwork that Erica presented.
I don't remember the paperwork, but for the customer, we have a documented and board-approved patron incident policy. And patrons can fill out online or in paper when they have a concern that, needs to be heard, or they don't wanna speak with a member of the staff, then they can fill that out. We've had a few patrons take advantage of it, but I think what we need to do a better job of is making sure that that information is, available and the patrons know about it. And that's part of, I think, what the objective is speaking to. In terms of the internal stuff, I don't remember, I think there's two parts of this. One is having a complaint policy or a dispute resolution policy, and that's now in our employee handbook that was added a couple of years ago. And we have an HR person that can address disputes or concerns that a staff person has, but we also have a contract with, HR Answers for an employee to call an anonymous tip line, and they can share hey, this thing happened, I don't wanna speak to Skylar about it, I don't wanna speak to Haley about it because of the concern, the nature of the concern, I don't feel comfortable. We've had only one instance of that in the 2 or 3 years that it's been enacted, but I still think it's a valuable resource. The other thing I think Erica had shared before was, improvements or edits to the executive director, like annual review process. That was another thing that she had kind of talked about a few times. So, I think those are the ones, but I don't think, maybe there was something else.
I felt like we had a.
So is there a customer service plan? Or does it have a different name that I don't recognize? I mean, I don't recognize it as.
I don't know, I guess, I'm plead ignorance, I don't really know what that is, I don't know.
Well, the first recommendation based on our discussions without knowing if the district has a customer service plan, I recommend the district set clear written guidelines.
We have clear written guidelines for customer issues, patrons.
We do, I mean, we have a patron conduct policy, I'm not sure if that's a customer service plan or not. Again, patron conduct policy was adopted by the board, I don't know, it feels like a customer service plan,
Yeah.
but it's not called that.
All of these. There's one for hot tub policy, SEPRD, auditorium music policy, patron conduct expectations, patron expectations policy grounded. Rights, patron rights and expectations, pool temperature, reader board policy, reinstating trespass individual policy.
Where are you looking?
I don't know.
You don't know what you got there?
The school board website?
I went to apps, files, I went to, SEPRD board,
Good job.
documents, general, and then there's all this.
Look at you.
Policies.
Board meeting minutes, but they haven't been updated since 2021.
I don't even know how to get to that place that you're at, so I need you to teach me.
But there's a lot of policies in here.
They're somewhere. I
And
just didn't know
forms.
that- I
There's a
didn't
lot
know
of
that they were
forms.
in that
What's
place.
it say for the hot tub?
Well,
We gotta stick to the agenda.
Yeah.
Like, this is,
it says this. You also have access to this, I am sure.
So Skylar, in the context of recommendation number 3, are we there yet?
Well, I would talk with Haley about the first one. Second one's you. Recommendation number 3. Go.
Well, that seems more management, not board stuff.
number 3?
Yeah.
Well, yes and no. We have to do ours.
We have one
and
employee that we
are
have to
late,
do.
so we need to work on that.
Performance appraisals are completed every year for all staff.
Yes. And you guys
100%.
moved to
So why did he
a,
put this recommendation in?
I don't know if there was something that came up in the minutes or in his conversation, I'm not sure. I don't even remember us talking about.
I think what I remember him saying, him asking, and we said something about it was a little bit late. And he noted, well, it should be done yearly.
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, maybe he's just referring to.
I think it's under personal administration, staff morale, and work climate. Is where we're kind of.
It's fine. I mean, I'm just very sensitive about separation of duties and stuff. So then I have one more question on
Yeah.
number 5, the Board of Directors Community Commitments document. You know,
Thank you.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I don't know what that is.
Well, you were part of us drafting it, but Celeste wrote it.
It's on the website.
It is on the website.
Okay, I'll look it up. That's all I need to know. Okay.
Have we,
It has been a couple years since it's probably been edited. but, and maybe it'd be good for the board to review and decide if they still like it or want to change it.
Well, we have 60 days before he comes back, right?
I don't know if he's gonna come back, but he said he would be checking in with
So
us and
there's-
me to see how things are going.
There's a Vision Heart of Seaside, a letter from the SEPRD Board of Directors. You might want to, that's old.
It is, but still,
It's sort of still relevant, but I think we should rewrite that, because now we have, this is a plea to the community to purchase the property. I don't know where's our board stuff? Is it not? Huh. Did we get a new website, or you're gonna talk about that?
just, we're gonna get a new website. Board of Directors Community Commitments. It's on the main page, sunsetempire.com/board.
Oh,
That's all I
yeah,
need to
okay.
know. I can look it up and read it. I don't have to take a board meeting time.
I can share the footnotes version, there's 7 of them. Number 1 is improve the board's self-governance. Number 2, provide transparency in board policies and practices. 3, improve the board's connection to community feedback. 4, strengthen supervision and support for executive director. 5, improve communications internally and externally. 6, communicate leadership's vision through a strategic plan. 7, ensure decorum, respectfulness, and dignity as we lead and represent SEPRD.
I remember that being brought back to us.
I agree with all those things.
Yeah.
Here, I will share this with you all right now. I guess you'll have to, click on the file.
So, Madam Chair, do you need a motion on this?
I don't think so. We need a
It
motion.
said
Oh, to
review and
adopt.
adopt.
Bob did ask
To-
for it to be reviewed and adopted.
Okay.
Now, it could be an acceptance, but I think it's probably part of their process that they want to formally.
Because if you need a motion, Sue would be happy to make them.
Great. Go ahead,
Because I already
Sue.
made all my motions for today.
Kyle's on a roll.
Well, I have a question first.
Okay, go for it.
And when I look on, oh my gosh, it's not numbered. So when I look on the second page of the chart that we reviewed, and there are empty spaces, you know, I mean, and it's just,
Oh, just blanks,
It's
things that
just
he didn't
blank.
review.
it's like,
Yeah.
so, did he, I just don't know what that means, the fact that it doesn't have any, I mean, it says something nice, although improvement to customer service is not marked and there's no comment.
Yeah, it could be oversight on his part, but what I would guess is that, if you remember, we ran out of time once we got to this part of the best board practices assessment. And so we might have had a brief conversation on those things, but I don't know if he felt like he had enough information.
Yeah, still that.
He kind of skipped over a couple of things to get to some other stuff.
Okay.
We were crunched to start regular meeting up.
And I underlined, and I didn't remember this, there was pushback from staff regarding your wage increase from staff? Really?
Not so many, but I think it came, to the board in, not a direct way, if I remember right. I don't know what that's in reference to. Sorry.
I remember
it was-
some public
It
comment about it.
bubbled up.
I think that was also when, the first one, when we, had done kind of a, where you look at what others are.
Organization review?
Yeah, and like realized that you were undercompensated for your position. And so we had done a fairly decent increase that first time and got a little bit of pushback.
That was right after COVID, I think,
Yeah.
and at the time of that meeting, I think we even tried to signal to the employees that, hey, we know this is
Yeah.
and I know there was, considerable consideration of all staff regarding the Skylar, you brought, you wouldn't take a wage increase unless the staff was taking a wage increase, and that was during COVID. And so I think that was magnanimous, but, so, I don't know, I can so move that we adopt this document put forth by, Kiefer.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. All in favor, signify by please make aye. Sue, Mike,
Absolutely.
aye. Moving on.
Nice work, getting Bob in here for an hour or so in a board meeting, and then having return these recommendations the next month, that's impressive.
I actually oddly enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. Like, I thought it was a really good
It
discussion.
was good.
Yeah.
If we ever, in the future, do a board retreat.
I've been familiar with him.
It might be nice to have a little more time with Bob.
Yeah. No, I thought he had some great,
I've been familiar with Bob
Discussion.
Kiefer ever since I've been on
And-
the board.
somewhere in here it says that, we were the best that he's had to deal with.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
that was
I
really.
read that.
I mean, I would share, I think it was a pleasurable experience for him because the board is committed to working on things and they're informed and they do a really good job of managing their duties and letting staff manage their duties. And I think that's a really hard thing that a lot of boards and elected officials struggle with. Sorry to hurt anybody's feelings there, but I think that's obvious, and you all can look at many examples of that. So to have a board that's committed and willing to put the time in, that's one thing he's said over and over to me, is like, wow, they're really dedicated, and I think that that's very true. So, probably enjoyable for him to come and have a group that cares about their civic duty.
And I can imagine if you're getting
Why
pushback.
I was late, it was something I couldn't.
You had a doctor's appointment
Yeah.
in Canada Beach.
Oh, yeah.
I found the line.
Thank you,
that-
Tyler.
I found this board to be the most interactive of all the boards I have worked with. And how long did he say he'd been doing this?
He was a director, superintendent for, I think, over 30 years, and he's on the Sisters Park and Rec board and involved in
Yeah.
special districts, so.
He's
Few
on the
years.
legislative committee for special districts.
it's very-
So, good job, us.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah. Okay, handbook review. You're doing some updates.
Yeah, I didn't know how to really do this part, to be honest, with the board. I remember a time early in my tenure with the district where I brought the entire employee handbook to the board for review and adoption. And I suppose we could do that again. It's a lengthy document, and, in talking to Catherine, I think, what we decided to do was to bring some highlights or some of the changes. I feel like I'm a little bit uncomfortable just because this is, generally speaking, this is a policy that guides the staff, right, and their employment experience with the district. And as you all know, the only staff member that you supervise is myself, so it does guide me, and maybe you should review it. I don't know what's best in this situation, but I did want to share that this is a substantial effort. We had a document that was, updated in 2021, and we've made periodic, and required updates to language and additions, and there's, been a lot of changes with Oregon paid leave and, Family Leave Act, that have been added to it, but this is a pretty substantial change, and there's a couple of newer policies that were highlighted on this memo. So, like I said, I don't know how the board wants to proceed. If you want visibility to the whole document, it's a public document, it's yours to review, I can send it to you, I can print it for you,
Put it in that drive.
I can put it in the drive.
Is it a public document?
I think it is in the sense that, if it was public records requested, I would be
Yeah, of course,
obligated to
yeah.
provide. But I don't know if it's a public document in the way that, like, it's not germane to the duties of the board, in my opinion.
Well, only that we have one.
Right, yeah.
But, I'm just thinking about what it would mean to put that on the website. Public access to that, I don't know.
Well, and
That could cause us problems later on.
and see, I get a confrontation from, you know, a member or two about, like, the children in the workplace.
Sure.
And I just refer that, but I don't, if they're gonna know what the policy is, probably I should know what the policy is.
Yeah, there is a concept.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
know if I
it's
need to
fine,
know what. the
no, yeah,
policy
I
is.
think just knowing that knowing that we have these things, great.
Mhm.
Skylar, we have a concern, go find the policy, great,
Mhm, yeah.
So Haley Wiley was involved probably heavily with.
yeah.
She was, yeah, we both gone to, a couple of trainings put on by the SDAO and HR Answers, and yeah, use template language from, some of those resources we have, but also kept a lot of what we had in our previous handbook.
My, my only, I guess, question kind of along those lines is I feel like a lot of our policies are reactive. Meaning something happens and then we go, whoops, we didn't have something spelling out how, like, we just sort of knew that that's what we wanted to do, but we didn't have it in writing.
That's kind of how the whole fire code was developed, you know?
Fair.
Well, look at the hospital, we had to go back and do this evidence-based practice for basics, like why do you give the patient a bath?
Why do you wash your hands?
So,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
guess
and that had to be explored.
my question would be to Haley and you, is there a way to be more proactive? And I think potentially, and maybe you guys already do this, would be to reach out to maybe some of our bigger districts, like Walton Hills, and say, could we get a copy of yours? Can we, and then like,
Yeah.
see the things that they have already encountered or dealt with, and like, mesh
Does
them?
Northwood have draft?
Yeah, sorry,
Draft handbook?
I wanna make clear, like, the handbook that we have, it contains all or exact language from what has been, authored and legally reviewed by SDAO, and they're working
Okay.
with all sorts of special districts. So it's as solid, I think, in terms of like, it has to have all of these things as it could be.
I'm just thinking like the children in the workplace thing that happened, you know, that was a reactive thing that.
We had a policy.
It just, yeah, okay.
But what happens, is that there's, I don't know, not like cracks in the policy, but there's like times of change, or this is a little bit different, or this policy, it kind of applies, but it doesn't apply perfectly. So, yeah, like the children in the workplace, we've added a formal request process of what that looks like. If you're gonna have your child in the workplace, here's what you need to do. Here's
Yeah.
what we'll be considering if we're going to make those decisions. Whereas before it kind of said, this shouldn't really happen unless it needs to happen, and then it's okay to happen. And
Yeah.
that was the policy. So, and we thought that was adequate, but, you know, sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
It's adequate until it's not, you're right. And
I
it is
just-
a little reactive.
Yeah, I just, I mean, I'm happy to hear that we're using official legal language from others. I'm just curious if there's others that have those reactive policies already in place, and that the experience that we could maybe kind of like, can we take a look and see what they have, and kind of be like, oh, maybe that sounds good.
For me
What do we
personally,
miss?
Yeah,
really,
because
What
you
do we
don't
miss?
know what you're
I really
potentially
appreciate
doing.
being able to, you know, encourage the public to look at the handbook. The policy is written out, it is there. Because I'm in the pool, and I haven't seen some of these people for several months, so I don't know what has happened. But, you know, I know how much I appreciate having a backup to me when I'm standing there dripping and, you know, trying to go home.
Yeah, I guess, Sue, I mean, I know the situation that you're speaking of, and I've had many interactions about this topic, and I would say most of the questions about an employee status or an employee personnel policy, they don't need to be directed to the it's inappropriate for them to be directed or answered by the board, in my opinion. Unless they're about me, and then obviously that's who the board should be speaking on. If it's, hey, why does this employee do this, or why does that employee do that, or how come they get to do this, those should come to either myself or to their that employee's supervisor. And I think we've done a good job of managing that situation, even though it's been really challenging. Now, I do feel like, though, at least with that policy that has been in question, is it's solidified and it's equitable, and we can say, this is the criteria that employee met, and this is why we felt comfortable honoring that request, or so on. It's not as willy-nilly.
So, looking at all, I mean, I think this is, all of them look great, and, or sound like these are things that we needed, or updates. I like seeing them being proactive. Like I say, my only thing is, can we find those holes? Can we try and be as little reactive as we possibly can?
Yeah.
I think it just protects us
Absolutely.
as much as possible. And,
One example, I guess, of us doing that, and there's certainly others that we probably aren't aware of, is like, we did not have a lactation rate policy. And
Perfect.
that was one that I saw sampled in other places, and I think we both thought that was something that we could add. We did not have a vacation payout policy. We didn't allow that, actually, and now, this handbook iteration will allow us to do that.
how often, is it an annual review that you guys are just as needed for the whole, like, how often do you guys?
It's annual probably, yeah. I would say what we do is, it's kind of twofold. We have a portion of our staff meeting where we're reviewing policy together, making sure that all the staff is familiar, and then Haley and I both go to lots of trainings or meetings, conferences where policy is being updated by the state. So like right now there's changes in FMLA and OFLA in Oregon. Paid sick leave, I don't know, every couple months. It's changing pretty frequently. There was just a change into the white collar minimum annual salary threshold last week that we were not expecting, and that impacts some of our staff. So there's a lot of things. It's a pretty dynamic environment.
Sure.
Well, I did have, because of my history at Providence, the very last thing about new policy on sick leave, bank, and donation. The experience I had with it personally was donating a week of my time to a housekeeper. They didn't give my wage to her. They gave her wage.
Yeah.
And so I lost, I said, that's not fair, I should have just written a check. And so I don't know that I wanna know, but I wanna bring it to your attention that if I am gonna donate time as an RN to somebody that makes a lot less money, I'd like it to be, or I'd like to be aware that the dollar amount would be different before I do it. Because what we would have done our family would have done something different for this employee.
Yeah.
And it was a substantial, financial change. She got a week of her pay, but my pay would have given her another 2 weeks.
I understand.
And so I just wanna make sure that employees, know up front so they can help as best they can.
Yeah, we can talk maybe a different time about it, but our sick bank policy is, I wouldn't donate, like you wouldn't donate to a specific employee, you would donate into the bank. And, you wouldn't know who's gonna be the benefit of those, and then an employee that was in need of additional sick time for whatever situation would basically like request time, and they would maybe have the opportunity to access some of those hours. And I think another difference, maybe I'm guessing, is that we don't pay out sick time for employees when they depart the district, and so that's it's not as much of a liability for us.
No, at Providence, when I was still there, we didn't pay out sick time either.
Okay.
So do you need a motion?
You're
This
just
is
bringing it to,
informational.
yeah.
I guess I would effort has been undertaken and that they're generally supportive of us continuing in the path that we're on right now in terms of visibility to the board and to the public. If it sounds like you're okay with that effort, that's adequate, I appreciate it, thank you.
Website update.
All right, thanks everybody for hanging in there. So, this is just kind of for discussion. I don't have any proposed change right now, but this has come up, several times over the last few months. One of our, key, or objectives, just making sure I find it, so I read it correctly, but, yeah, objective 3, key result B, conduct a website usability analysis and develop plans for updates. So we have worked with a couple of contractors to look at some different options for us. Right now, we're investing a pretty small amount of around $200 a month into our website and like internal marketing channels. So like a customer signs up for our internal marketing and then they get those and then our website fee. The other options that we've looked at are substantially more, but obviously they would improve the district's website and our performance in a few key areas. One area that's really important to mention and what kind of prompted us to discuss this is there is a mandate that our website has to be completely ADA compliant, and we thought that it actually had to happen by January 2025 because we're a government agency that has a population, a service population of less than 50,000. We actually have 2 additional years to comply. And right now, our website is around 90 or 95% compliant, but there's certain things that you have to change on your website so that it's more accessible and easier to fonts and colors and links and things like that. So we're kind of evaluating the website holistically to decide what is our plan for improving it. Is it switching to a completely different platform, hiring out a third party and having them maintain the website at a substantial increase? And so I kind of just wanted to discuss with the board. I think this has been a priority for Celeste because I've had several conversations with her about this, and I don't know where the rest of the board stands on it.
I'm with her.
With that?
I'm with her.
Okay. But I need to gauge how substantial of an investment the board would like us to make into this area.
The other thing that for me, the hardest part of our website right now is it is not super mobile friendly. And I mean, this is my computer, you know, so I think whatever we choose has to have that capability.
Absolutely.
What would it cost to build an app?
I don't know. Yeah, from what I've heard anecdotally, is they're expensive, and I think we would be one of. I don't know of any other park and rec agencies that have them.
Oh, then we get to be the first.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, it seems like every interaction I have, there's an ad for that business or agency or whatever, and I don't know the first thing about what it would take. I can envision that it would be incredible benefit for the patrons. They could pay, they could make their payments, they could schedule their stuff, they could see all of it. I think they could do really well.
Well, I know.
So I think that's a separate discussion though from the website.
Yeah.
But, yeah. The point of sale software is separate, and it could be included. We're also evaluating our current point of sale software and deciding, looking at some other potential options on that.
My feeling is our website is the face of this organization. It is where people go to find out about us. It is where they go to sign up. It is where they go to all information. It needs to be as user-friendly as possible. And if that means that we need to contract out with someone, fine. Or, you know, do like what the school district did, where they get it all set up and passed it on. So now I do the website for the school.
What is like the hosting fee?
That I don't know, because I don't know the money, I don't do the money part, but, so,
And what happens, sorry, if Catherine is
out,
out, yeah, you know, are there others?
yes, I have the power to grant access to anybody I want. I tell people all the time, if I ever leave, I have a lot of fingers and a lot of things, I could just light a match. Not that I would do that.
I don't know if I would use the metaphor light a match.
No. But I think it's worthwhile to have it done well and have it done right, and then take it over and maintain it. Potentially, because I do feel like, the changes that we would need to be able to make, you know, like, oh, the pool's closed due to a FAC. Like, we need to make that real time. We're not gonna call somebody in New York and say, oh, we need to put a message up on our site. So, like, we need to be able to edit things quickly.
Well, and I get that on my phone.
I know, but wouldn't it be nice to have a banner or some sort of warning or alert or something on the website that says, hey, pool's closed today until tomorrow?
Yeah, we do have that capacity, but it's been hard for us to stay as on top of it as we'd like to, for sure.
So there's website development and then there's website hosting, right? And you're talking about having the development done out of house, but the hosting done in-house.
Yeah, maintain. I don't know, I mean, that's my,
Yeah. Would you
My
mind,
thought process.
I guess, asking or?
how much it costs.
Yeah, or what your platform is now?
It is, I will say the one that we use is probably geared towards education because it is bundled with our alert, like the Parent Square, app, you know, like all of that, it's all one package. So, but I could ask, because we had, prior to this bundle, we had a separate website, system, and I could ask just how much that cost us
Okay.
to run.
Great, yeah, thanks.
But that's just me.
What does, I mean, if we're looking at the check registry and we see, I don't know, banner website company, that's the name of the company that we've used, and it says $1,200 a month. That's what we're paying. Is the board supportive of that? Because to be honest, like when staff sees that as like, oh, this is what our service costs, it's hard for us to justify it in our head. But if the board is thinking that's a well worth it investment, that we'd like you to pursue that. That doesn't seem like that much money to me, maybe, is what you're thinking. I
I think
kind of
it's
want
a
to
lot.
hear that.
That's $15,000-ish a year, and that's generating all of our revenue essentially,
Yeah.
like when it's
There's a
coming
$4
through
million
that.
budget.
Yeah, coming through that portal. I don't think that that's an astronomical price for
I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying in comparison from like the
$200.
150 or 200 where we're at now,
Yeah.
where it feels like we have a good, not great site, but a good site that does most of the things that we want it to do.
Right, but I also think, that we are trying to elevate our products and our spaces and reach communities and be ADA compliant and all the things, and that doesn't come free.
I'm pleased. You don't have to talk me into it.
What are customers want?
We're prepared. Yeah.
Oh, I hear from the people that they are frustrated with the website. They're frustrated that it's not mobile friendly. So, to me,
You okay, Renee?
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
like, if you need to go, you can go.
Uh,
We're almost done.
just these shooting things.
I know.
They're very acute. I should have taken some steroids before I came to this meeting. For others, I've got other things, I don't, I'm
We're
not.
almost done,
this
we'll wrap it
meeting's
up.
not
Okay,
about me.
you got what you need?
I'm sorry.
Yes, moving on.
Hey, I support any process where we can make our communication with
How much does it cost to develop an app? I don't know. I am sure that there's some high school student that could develop us an app
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
for a Pacifica project
We
or
could,
something.
how about if we had a competition?
I think with apps, the challenge that I've heard about is that
Maintaining them.
maintaining them,
Yeah.
because you still have to maintain your website, and they don't always talk to each other and work well. But I think it's worth a conversation, asking, the folks that know more about this.
Yeah, I don't know. I've
Isaiah's
never,
not here, so.
yeah. Okay.
Thank you. I'll
Goals,
report
go.
back. Well, I think,
Thank you.
the work that we are engaged in is hopefully evident on the goals. Yeah, there's some things that are working really well. We're working hard on new fee schedule, obviously Broadway Field, completion, the master plan, we've talked about website usability. So there's a few other things that it's not as if we haven't worked on them, but space in the day and time constraints have, made for kind of biting off the pieces that we can bite off right now. But I'm pleased to have this. I would honestly probably look at this at least every other day, if not every day, and it does guide my efforts with the district, and it's a good reminder. Reports, just wanted to share a quick report. I had hoped to have Rick from Kernan Thompson here today. We got a draft of the audit report, but we didn't get it until it was either yesterday or Friday. So we're just maybe a week or two behind that ability. I think if we had met in December, we would have been able to have it, but I anticipate that we'll have an audit report from Rick in January, and by all accounts, it looks like it was a successful audit, and everything is going good. In terms of the bank transition, I know that the board decided this several months ago, but we're still working on it. It's a long process, working through all the paperwork, making sure things are lined up. Pleased to say that we did, set up our new accounts, made a deposit, so that part is moving right along. Upcoming training opportunities, just again wanted to highlight the Special Districts Conference. It's in Bend at the River House. It's in February. If board members would like to attend, please let me know. And then as far as some other items that I wanted to make sure we shared, Courtney shared a little bit about shutdown, but just wanted to thank our maintenance staff, our lifeguards that worked, our recreation staff. In terms of what we were able to accomplish, it was substantial enough, but then when you consider moving the entire fitness room over to the SRC was a heavy lift, and the space over there looks really nice. We're working to make sure that that's a solution that's going to work for us at least temporarily. Really pleased about Turkey Trot and our Thanksgiving planning. We have, I think, as of this morning, I want to say we're around 330 registered for Turkey Trot. Where our goal is to get to 400, and I think that we'll get there, probably surpass it. So,
I heard you had 367
from who?
from Darren.
Darren either spoke out of turn, or he knows more than me. I think when I talked to Zoe this morning, we were around like 320, 330. Last year we had over 70, I think around 70 or 75 registered data. So I think we're, like I said, we're hoping to get to 400. That would be surpass what we did last year.
There was a lady registering right then.
Yeah, and then we're hosting a community Thanksgiving meal here at the Bob. I shared the date of our employee holiday party on December 12th, Thursday, and would invite the board to participate. We're going to host it at the SRC with some fun and games, but the board is welcome. Families are welcome if you have family members that are available to come or want to come. I think the staff loves having you around. We have no December board meeting, and then our January board meeting date is included. It's at the end of the month on the 28th.
Okay.
That's all that I have. Thank you for your time today.
Board comment. Kyle, go.
First off, I'd like to thank Nicole and Brandon for everything they did for December and November, respectively. Broadway Field, nice work. Nice work. I mean, the note was long, but the outcome was great. There may be a bit of a conflict for me in January. I may have to be online in January.
I echo that, what Kyle just said.
You mean you're gonna be out of town in January too?
Well, sure, I won't be here, we won't have a board meeting because there's no forum. I mean, basically, I really am taken by, this young man, Noah, that sent this in, you know, this picture and the little tiny note, which is very kind. And then I appreciate the efforts of, among the wonderful staff we have, that we can recognize, Nicole and Brandon. It was nice to have them here, so that we could actually see their faces and, offer applause. And I am grateful to Courtney. I know he has had a heavy lift since, with Levi leaving and the shutdown and, just the regular surprises that go from a facility, that we have. And so I'm very grateful for him. I am, disappointed about the strategic plan and wish that we could have been able to, have a better product to present to, for all the different purposes that we need, and we'll just have to wait a little bit longer to make sure we get that done. And it is exciting, Broadway Field, being able to go and to be able to thank Randy, and, I know we asked him, why don't you come to the board meeting, and of course he did. So, that was, what an amazing, difficult thing he did that made us, made the system work to get what should have been done in the first place. And I applaud his courage and his perseverance. And I'm grateful that our team, made it happen, even with the numerous, frustrations that we encountered. I'm also grateful to Skylar for time and dedication to do this, and, he delivered this packet to me on Sunday, because I try to read it, so I'm not stuffing it down into my brain in one day. So I'm very grateful for that gesture and many others that, provide the leadership that you give to this community. And I would want to wish, happy Thanksgiving and even Merry Christmas, and I guess a Happy New Year.
And to you as well.
It's like, gosh, it goes so fast. So anyway, I am grateful to be a part of this team, as Mr. Kiefer was able to identify, and how nice that we were just ourselves with him, and somebody recognized that benefit, and that's nice to have that pat on the back, and I appreciate that. So with that, thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Mike?
What more can I say?
I don't know.
I
Go
wish
for it.
everybody a happy Thanksgiving and
you too, man.
and Christmas and New Year's.
Yep.
Everything is, it's been a good year. I think Broadway Field is pretty significant accomplishment. Although I do feel personally that there's still a lot of work to do on the community gardens.
The Michael Hayden Community Gardens?
No, please do not. No way.
That's like the old whatever he said.
There's a lot of question marks. Yeah, I don't really feel the gardens are quite up to snuff yet. We've got issues with the street. I don't know if I've been misled or what, but just have to wait until we, get to it again this spring and see what happens. Is there, I wanted to ask a question, is there something going on with the Public Works Department in Seaside? I noticed they're advertising for a new director.
Yeah, they had the previous director, Dale, who left, probably about a year and a half ago. And
Retired 2 years ago.
They had, another person that was in the role, and he left in July or August. So they have an interim,
Oh, he did.
they have an interim public works director.
So Mike didn't left.
Mike Dimick, yeah, he left.
Okay.
They have an interim right now, and I think the position is open or soon, has recently closed. But, I will say from, I've dealt with the Public Works Department a lot on this crosswalk project, and they've been very responsive and helpful, so I'm thankful for that effort, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wish everybody well. You guys have said everything needs to be said. Yes, Catherine's gonna say something.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciated hearing from Courtney, in his presentation, and he has stepped into some big shoes, and I think he's done a fabulous job, so we appreciate him. Appreciate our, employees of the month, Nicole Tibbetts and Brandon Soria, and, appreciated, the work that went into finishing that softball field. That's a huge lift that's been on our plate for quite some time, so it's nice to, it'll never be done, but it's nice to be able to kind of, okay, we can move on to other things. Hope everyone has a very happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever. Happy New Year. We will see everyone in January. Actually, I'll see you on Thursday, but.
January 28th.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned, all right.
7:43.
So, Skylar, the holiday party is December 12th, and you said we're gonna get the next draft of the strategic plan on the 13th.
That's correct. Hopefully fast.
But you'll send it out electronically.
I will. I'll deliver, do whatever you
Mike,
need.
I hope